Oh, hurry, hurry. If I could have your attention, it's 5 o'clock or maybe even a minute past, then we're going to call this meeting to order. And the first item up is approval of the agenda. And I just want to change one word. And which one is it?
Item 5.1 will be approval for a intercom system rather than a camera system. It'll be coming from Rusker Gaines.
Just a little technicality, so just to make a note of that. Okay? Okay, any other changes? If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? I don't think. We have an agenda. Approval of board minutes. There are 3 sets, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to look over those. So,
Carolyn said she'll be here in a minute.
I passed him in the parking lot.
Well,
I came in the short.
we knew you'd be here soon. Board minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion about that? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the way the minutes are written? No? Okay. And that'll carry us to the no action portion of our meeting. And first up, and we've been looking forward to this, Washington High School swim team state champions. I think Mr. Pate is going to handle that, or at least begin. So come up, please.
Coach Pate, if you tell us a little bit about the competition and then introduce the team, we'd like to have them come around and greet the board and then get a picture.
I certainly will. I just want to start by thanking y'all for having us here today. Just want to say that how proud I am of these guys and what they've done, and unfortunately all of them could not make it this evening, but it really was, hard work and dedication, not just this year, but years in the making for this championship to happen. We went into regionals, had a wonderful meet, best times all around, and I did not realize that we were going to come out of there as regional champions. So I knew we would be at the top, but I didn't know we would call ourselves regional champions. And of course, going into states, didn't know what to expect neither. I didn't know if these guys were going to have that much in them. Just the next weekend going back to Cary, and they had even more in them. And I knew that if we could keep it close coming into the last few events, as strong as we were at the end, that we had a chance of pulling away, and it sure did. Came down to the last event in dramatic fashion, and these boys came through and brought home a state championship back to Washington High School, so I'm very proud of them. The team consists of 23 boys, and of course not all 23 made it to the state level. We took 10 boys to the state level, and they competed very well. They make strides in the pool, but they're just such a good group of guys. I just want to tell you another accomplishment that they've done. North Carolina High School Athletics Association comes up with scholar athletes as well as scholar teams. My boys team, I'm proud to say, if your team has to have a cumulative GPA of 3.1 to make it. And as a team, they had a cumulative GPA of 4.17. So they work hard at the pool, they work hard in other sports as well in the classroom, and it just pays off for these fine young men. And you can be a scholar athlete if you have a 3.5 or higher, and I just found out that all 23 of my boys are scholar athletes. But I'll get to introducing the 6 that can make it tonight. And boys, when I call your name, if you want to come on up, and we'll start with Mason Beach. Justin Clark. Congratulations. Wynn Martin. An individual state champion in the 100 backstroke, Kevin Andrews. Leland Hill. Last but not least, AJ Howard.
Mark's on there.
Oh, Mark's the photographer tonight?
Yes.
Stand behind you, take yourself. I'm good. I'm good. Go ahead.
It what? It went out. That's all right. I see how you are.
Mark, get one with him with the number 1 sign.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, Coach, would you mention on camera the names of the others that weren't able to be here tonight so they can be recognized on camera at least?
Not here tonight. That were at the meet. Robert Mayo, Eric Crozier, Eric Lovenberg, and Tony Lovenberg.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in tonight and being with us, and so proud of you. That's an awesome job.
Coach, how many are seniors? So you have some returning swimmers, great.
So we'll see you back next year.
That's the plan.
Hey, you got to keep that attitude, though. That's the attitude you have to have.
Give it our best shot.
Yeah. I was looking to see if we had any other recognition, which we don't. So this time, I'm going to take about a minute break before we get into the business, because I'm sure some of you came for this. Okay? So you want to wait here? I mean, we're not trying to run you off, but yeah, we'll come back to you as soon as some others come in. Yeah. Okay. Well, when they come in, we'll, as soon as whatever we're in, we'll stop, and when we get to a stopping point there, and then we'll start back up. Next would be child nutrition presentation, and Ms. McBride, I think, is going to do that.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, and I'm so glad to be able to do this in front of everyone tonight.
I bet you are.
It's just us. I'm just here tonight to update you on our administrative review that we had last week, February 22nd through the 25th, with North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and that's actually a federal review. I'm going to give you some of the results. I believe you were emailed the detailed list, but we had some commendations, recommendations, and also a few findings. I'm just going to brief you on the accommodations. Were that our department and our school system were very hospitable, cooperative, and accommodating during the review. They also committed us for being part of the Procurement Alliance, which goes after the best pricing for food and supplies. Our district is proactive about preventing foodborne illnesses. We require all employees to participate in ServSafe certification class, which is actually a course designed for managers and above directors, and actually all of our employees are going to go through it. We have 68.9% that have participated, and I can't quite figure out the 0.9%, but I'm thinking that's probably about 70%, and of those, 54% actually became certified. Our department was also commended for continuing to use scratch cooking methods, which is pretty much unheard of in school nutrition, but we continue to scratch cook for our students to offer them high quality and nutritious meals. With our fresh fruit and vegetable programs, we offer snacks every day to our students, and a lot of those grant programs in other parts of the state offer 2 to 3 days a week, but we put all the grant money toward the actual fruit and vegetables, so our students get snacks every day. As far as, they went into 3 schools: Eastern Elementary, Chocowinity Middle School, and Washington High School. All of the employees in Chocowinity Middle School are members of our association, and they're also ServSafe certified. And at Washington High School, we have 6 employees that are ServSafe certified, and their sanitation grade was 100%. All of our schools are above 96%, but Washington High School is 100%. Some of the recommendations that they had were to hire or contract additional help in our central office to fulfill all of the requirements of the Health, Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010. At the schools, they recommend that we do offer versus serve at Eastern Elementary to save on plate waste. And we also had a close encounter with a competitive food violation at the high school level, but thankfully that did not happen on the day of the review. And that has since been taken care of. And some of the findings were out of thousands of free and reduced meal applications or students that received benefits, we had one application that was incorrectly processed, and that application has since been reprocessed. Also, they want us to, all of our items such as screws, nuts, bolts, and emergency food purchases must be competitively procured. We have to get 3 quotes. We've already developed a spreadsheet for that, and our office staff have already been trained on that. Milk box was dripping at Eastern Elementary. The work order has been submitted and it has been fixed. They did not care for our cash management. They would not like our cashiers to count the money at the end of the serving line, so we have since changed the process. We now count it in the manager's office, or not all managers have offices, so they have like a little box. They all count it away from the serving line. Our signage that we pulled from the DPI website was incorrect, so we have since changed that for breakfast. And the hot dog bun at Washington High School did not weigh 2 full ounces. It was 1.75 ounces, so we have since changed the hot dog bun that we are using at Washington High School. So those are our findings, recommendations, and accommodations for our 5-year accreditation review, administrative review, excuse me. Are there any questions?
Not a question, but just a comment. They don't miss very much, do they?
It was the longest 4 days of since the last 5-year review I've experienced.
I mean, seriously, they weighed the bun.
We weighed the bun, yes, sir, we did.
Okay.
Our Child Nutrition Services Department, they serve over 1.3 million meals in a year. And I think just the work that goes on that's sort of behind the scenes that people take for granted. There's so many roles in a school system. Not roles, I didn't mean that as a There's so many duties and responsibilities that individuals serve. They're all critically important, but it's always great when we have an opportunity for somebody to come in and shine a light on a department or program area and see great things that are happening, so we appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Our employees in child nutrition did a great job. I'm excited for them, and I'm excited that it's all over for them as well.
I was actually over at Eastern, has nothing, just a comment. I was over at Eastern today, and a lot of our board members have been over there, but I ended up with the commissioner, and we were walking, ended up in the cafeteria, and he wanted to know, well, how many you serving? It was like almost 700 meals a day. Well, it was probably about 600 because you got so many people that bring their lunch. And it just always amazed me. I mean, people need to think about, they have a couple of offerings, and from one day to the next, who's going to really buy and who's going to bring? And they commented that when they have barbecue chicken, that they sell a lot more people buy. So I'm sure you build a history up and kind of can look at it, but it doesn't work out that way every day. And you don't want to have so much food that you waste. So, they do a remarkable job trying to stay on top of what it is they're serving from day to day. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes, sir, they do. And we use an average and we use the history.
Yeah.
And our scratch meals actually do have a high participation rate, surprisingly.
But, and even the history, I got a little 6-year-old grandson that goes in one of the schools, and I'll ask him at night, what you carrying tomorrow? Oh, no, I'm buying tomorrow. He comes by the house in the morning, no, I decided to carry it. So I'm not sure how good the history does. They change their mind on a moment's notice, and how do you know? It's just good job, though. Anyone have any questions for Gwen? That's
Great,
it.
sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. I saw a few come in, but do you have any others to come in? You think we're there? Okay, then, Mr. Pate, do you mind coming back up, and we'll start over here, and get these guys. We want to make sure everybody's recognized.
All right, the first is Tony Lovenberg.
You got to come up. We're not letting you just stay there.
Good job. And then Robert Mayo.
I'm slow moving.
Congratulations.
Great job. So you ready, Mark? We're gonna do it again.
Still missing two. I think there's two more that may not come.
Good. Give the number one symbol again.
And what? Sure. And once again, you're welcome to stay, but we'll take a minute if you decide to leave us.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We can clear a room, no doubt about that. Door shut and we pick back up. Okay. Well, room's clear again, folks. That takes us up to the $2 billion bond discussion, and I believe it's got my name on it. This isn't a political statement. I just wanted to take a couple of moments to make some comments, and maybe another board member or two or everybody might want to kick in. I'm not asking people to vote for it or against it, so everybody can just remain calm. I'm not going there. But I've just had a lot of comments as people have, I've had some calls and some people that have just come to me. I know there's some other board members that have had calls too. It is called the education bond, or at least they call my house and that's what they call it. And I've had a number of people wanting to know what we intend to spend the money on. And I just wanted to make sure that the public understood we're not intending to spend the money on anything because K through 12 does not get any of the money. Okay. This is for higher education. So you're looking toward your community college, your universities, and of course then they even split it up, I believe. I see Mac shaking his head, he probably knows more about it than I do. But there's some things outside of education, right, Mac?
And parks and
Recreation or something?
Department of Ag and so forth. They're getting, National Guard is getting part of it.
Right. So as far as whether it passes or doesn't pass, everybody vote their conscience, the people in the public. I'm not one way or the other asking you. I'm just informing you that that is not money that is coming to us. So, you know, for those people that have asked and those that might be wondering what we're going to spend the money on, well, I'd love to have some of the money, but we're not going to be spending the money on anything because we're not a part of that. So that's all I need to say. Does anybody have any other comments they want to make about it, or?
I'd just like to say that I've had calls also, Mr. Chair, that
Sure.
people had asked me, how should they vote on it, and my response to them is you have to vote your own conviction. I really don't know, but I do know that I've been told that the monies from the bond is for the higher educational staff, so that's basically what I've heard from them.
Exactly.
Well, what I have heard, and my understanding of it is, a lot of money is being promised or being directed to things that sound pretty good, but aren't all that necessary. I think the one thing Beaufort County is slated to receive is something to do with the community college, but not even directly that.
6.5 million, I believe,
Yeah.
to both the community.
And
Goose Creek.
My impression is the state has been getting its financial household in order, and I can't see $2 billion loan, which is what this actually is. I would hesitate to vote for it myself if we were getting some discretionary money locally, but we're not. And you don't want to vote on this as a board, so we won't do that, but there's a lot of questions, and frankly, it's a little insulting. I see these signs, people are going to think, well, this is something good. They're not asking us to raise. They're telling us they're not going to raise taxes, and then it has some meaningless slogan for our future. Well, you know, who's going to vote against our future. But I just think that's very deceptive and vague, and so that's my view.
That's great. I'm glad you shared that with us, because I know that you had received some
I have.
calls on that.
And,
So-
you know, and I don't get as many calls as some of you do, but I've gotten calls on this.
Maybe you're more direct in your response, so this I'll call you.
I don't know.
That's all I wanted to share. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we move on?
I think that's enough been said.
Okay, yeah, I don't get too political into it.
Don't you have anything, Mac?
I just know the company I'm employed with is supporting it and so forth. They're doing a commercial on television. And so, but I just say for everybody to, you know, you need to vote however you want to vote.
That's exactly right. That's all we were saying. I just was trying to make it clear that we're not receiving funds. Because the people that asked me that said that they hadn't seen any requests we made, and they were saying, well, so therefore the bond was working backwards, that we would be getting money and then sitting around a table and deciding, well, how are we going to spend it? And I'm thinking, you're so wrong. That's not the case.
Yeah.
We're not getting that money. So,
That's right. That's right.
We don't sit around the table anytime on that one. But I understand what they were saying, and it makes sense. 4.4 is capital budget request. I think I'm on a roll, so that's me, so I'm gonna jump right into that one too. All I wanted to do was not change anything. I just want to take a couple of minutes to clear up a couple of things from last night. So when we have our next meeting, and I'm glad you're here, Russ, so actually that's why I did it, because I knew you'd be here with some things to bring to us, was when we were talking about the safety, and I would just want this is something that for next week when we meet, to go ahead and have it prepared. And it's nothing different than what you heard last night. But I was looking back through how we were looking at securing all the schools, the frontages of the schools. And if anybody's got a different opinion, now's the time to speak up.
For next year's budget.
For next year's budget. Yeah, we're talking about next year's capital budget, the request, the one we're putting together. Of all the schools listed, when I went back through them, I'm gonna call it the easy ones. The schools such as a John Cotton Taylor, where when you walk in the front door, you can put up a wall. You know, we were talking about putting up walls with doors, et cetera. Well, of all of our schools taken out early college, there was about 10 or 11 of those schools that would be what we would call easy fixes. And I think everybody was agreeing with that. If not, speak up right now. So we'll just stay with that plan. There were 2 schools, and I didn't know if Stan was going to be here or not, that we were saying there were some few little differences. That was CMS and CPS. And there was a couple of comments I made about that. On CMS, let's get a figure together. I want you to put a figure together that looks at taking the entrance back to the old entrance, I call it, so that we can have that to look at to put on our capital request. Because we were talking last night about, well, if we came in the current way, you would either have to put something outside, or it would obstruct people running back and forth to the library. So if we go back to the old one, you know, you're going to have a cost of putting the office and changing that around. But I'd like to see a number on that so that we can kind of look at that. I kind of halfway put it aside last night, and I just want to change that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
shouldn't we be careful about how much we say?
Oh, well, these are on, I'm not going to get too deep into the
Okay.
safety. It's
Okay,
just
well,
simply a wall.
sure.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
talking about walls up front.
Okay.
And, because the meeting last night was an open meeting as well.
Yeah, well, sure.
And CPS, I want you to look at an alternative just outside the front door, rather than putting things within that first hallway that has a lot of traffic back and forth to the library and from hallway to hallway, okay? And just get us 2 figures on that, and then we'll know, because the next meeting, we're looking at that maybe being our last capital. Yeah, we're hoping that'll be our last capital. And
Does that include that external foyer in Chocowinity Middle? Are we getting the cost on that?
Foyer.
Similar to what we're talking about doing at Chocowinity Primary?
Well, actually, if they,
Would we
what
do
I was gonna
something
ask you,
addition?
no, I was gonna, well, he can put a figure on that. What Don is saying is, if we keep the current one that we have, entrance we have, you'll have to come outside and put a foyer. So if you wanna put us a price on that versus going back to the old entrance, and then we'll at least be able to, because at the next meeting, we need to have a hard number so we can just make a decision and move on, so we don't have to go back through capital again. And the last thing, it was brought to my attention by some folks that the X's and the places on there, we need to get a pretty good estimate the next day or 2 on what those are, if that's at all possible. I see you grinning at me. Well, because we're going to be given the copy of the capital, and we as a board are told to look at it between now and next Thursday to see if there's anything we need to add. Well, until I know what the prices of some of those could possibly be, and once again, I know it's not a hard bid, but we got to have a price of what some of those prices on paving, it's gonna cost. I'm
Not just safety and security, but
No,
capital.
yes, if you don't mind getting with Stan on that in your department over there, I know you're related more to safety. But actually, Don knows what I'm talking about.
We'll get him
So
back
if we can get a figure for that, then we as a board will know when we're looking at the whole figures, what we can possibly ask to be added or not added or taken away before next Thursday. So when we get there next Thursday, we won't have to spend any time.
It'll
going
make
back
it a
through
whole lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, to make it a whole lot easier, we'll just have it go. So if you can give us a figure on those items that were missing last night and alternatives for just those two schools, it looks like all the other schools will work out the way it was decided, not decided, but talked about last night.
Our goal is to not obstruct the daily flow of student
Right.
traffic in any of the schools, because that's gonna, especially at your middle schools and high schools, they're on the timetable to get to their next class. And if we impede that flow
Right.
because they've got to go through a locked door or a door that's being staffed by an employee, that could really slow them down, especially when you're trying to get a lot of people through one doorway. So that was one of the reasons we wanted on some of those, the exterior. Not that putting the wall up in the middle wasn't going to be a benefit, it is, but it might really serve to impede the flow of student traffic. And
In Eastern Elementary, you have a back hall.
Eastern will work. I was there today and talked to Miss Dana about that, and she said that would give she would prefer the front hall being done the way we talked about last night, because she has a back hall, so it won't bother her at all, and that's what she said. So you're really just looking at these two schools having to have some kind of alternative figure. Everything else will work the way the board was looking at it last night.
And there's no way that we can look at it between now and then
Right.
with blank spaces and try to make a determination what we need to maybe scoot over to a 2 to 5 year. Or if I think, oh, let's leave that on there, and then Thursday you bring me back that paving bid and it's astronomical, knowing that some of that is probably gonna have to be done, but we may have to make some adjustments there.
But just trying to make the next meeting, so when we get Thursday, we can run right through it and possibly take a vote and move on to local expense.
And what we don't act on this year, please have it saved on your computer and just add for inflation.
Exactly.
And we'll consider it the next time around,
And
okay?
it'll make even next year easy.
Hopefully you won't have to do all this running around next year, just saying.
That's newer.
But I know job security is important too, I understand.
And I want to thank you publicly for all the information that you did get together for us last night. That was a tremendous amount of information, and
It
very,
was
very
a
appreciated.
lot.
Appreciate all that. I know it's a lot of work. Thanks.
Couldn't do it by myself.
Well, we never said it'd be easy.
I got 14 maintenance guys in stand too, so we all
Well,
work
thank
together.
all of them.
Okay, that carries us to student transfers.
Just wanted to give you an update. We start to get requests or questions that come into our office in March. Generally, sometimes we'll hear as early as February. Folks that are looking at making transfers into the county or from in the county to other schools. And in the past, what we've said is that once the school reaches 95% of Jimmy Heights' calculated capacity, we close that school for inter-county transfers and transfer from outside. And I want to let you know, we've tumbled the numbers, and those change depending on when you look at those. And what we don't have right now are what our kindergarten enrollment numbers are going to be, because we haven't gone through that process yet. But I've taken an average of the last 2 kindergarten years, and that gives us a pretty good idea. And want to let you know that right now, the 3 schools that we've got that are officially closed for transfer. I don't want anybody to hear me say we closed a school. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about closing it for transfers from folks outside of our county coming in or within Beaufort County, unless students are already in the system where they've got siblings who would be Washington High School, John Cotton Talo, and Eastern Elementary. Those schools are already above 95% Jimmy Heights calculated capacity. What we also want to do is put a hold on 4 other schools that are approaching 90%, and we don't know, these schools may have an influx of kindergarten students, we just don't know, but we're not going to tell folks that they can make that transfer until we know for sure what those numbers look like, and should have a better idea in April or May. Those would be P.S. Jones, Chocowinity Middle, Chocowinity Primary, and Bath Elementary School. And those have traditionally been the schools where we've had capacity issues, and we just want the public to be aware of that.
Okay. So that would give us 7 of our schools.
Right.
then.
And Dr. Phipps, I know you're announcing it for the public now, but will there be any kind of written announcement that will go out?
We will. I think it's too early yet to do. I mean, we can say these 3 are definitely closed. The others, we're not ready to make the closed call
Got
until
to
we know
wait
for sure.
until a little closer. and send something
I think
out.
certainly by the end of the month of March, we should have a better handle on that. But if
Done.
parents are looking at that, we just want them to be aware of the numbers.
Dr. Phipps,
Yes, ma'am.
what are those schools again?
The ones that we've determined are closed because of their current enrollment will be Washington High School, John Cotton Taylor, and Eastern Elementary.
Okay.
And the schools that we're holding, we're not going to allow folks to come in until we have a better handle, would be P.S. Jones, Chakawinity Middle, Chakawinity Primary, and Bath Elementary.
Okay, so that leaves north side, south side, John Small, Snowden, and northeast. And Ed Tech, yeah. Okay. You get that, Ms. Booth? Okay, any questions to Don about that? Okay, pretty straightforward.
And we'll come back to you with more precise numbers as we get a little bit deeper into the school year.
Okay. Policy updates.
What I've got for you today is a PLS update from the School Board Association. These primarily deal with Leandra and the case that's been in the state for quite some time, and some changes that are here with general statutes and codification, and just some updates that we've got. This would be your first presentation, very similar to what we did last board meeting, but they're not nearly as many policies. You have a chance as you look through this to see what the policy number is, the title, why they're looking at the update, the legal authority involved, and then any notes that you may want to see over on the side. But you'll see a large majority of these are to make sure that the language matches with what the General Assembly has done in the area of the Leandro case. So these will be sitting for you all, and then we'll bring them back again 30 days from now and go through them one by one like we did before to make sure that the public is also aware. But we'll have these posted for the public to see as well.
We've had a lot of policy changes.
We have.
haven't we? I guess there's no question, but I won't stop you from asking any questions about that. Okay, so we'll hear from you down the road. Now we go to action. So Russ, I think you're back up again for approval for, I won't call it a camera system, for
the intercom system.
And I asked Russ to come tonight because we have given him the green light to go ahead and spend money out of the capital line items that we've set aside for safety and security. So he could do that, but what he would like to do is work through a consortium that's been set up that already has done the bidding. So as he comes to you tonight, we've already given him permission to do this, but I felt like I wanted to be very transparent for you all to hear it, for the folks that are watching on television to be aware as well, that we're not collecting multiple bids because we're dealing with a consortium that's already been set up at the state level to do that work. So we've got legal grounds to do it, and I wanted Russ to share that with you tonight before we move forward and take any formal action on your part.
Okay. Well, as we know, getting into technology and how technology changes so much and prices can change every 3 months, the United States Education Technology Purchasing Allowance was designed for local governments and schools for the purchase of technology equipment because of that and how hard it is to purchase the equipment and all the cabling that goes along with it. What I have here tonight that I'm breaking for you is a total intercom and bell system replacement for Bath Elementary and Washington High School. Bath Elementary is an old, very, very old system that no longer works, and they only rely on the phones in the classrooms for intercom. Washington High School, Ms. Walker is here, and I think she's still sitting here to find out the verdict of this, but her bell system randomly rings during the day. And her intercom system also was put in when the school was put in. Safety, alerting is a number one thing. I think we all know that. So I want to explain why there is only one bid. Per General Statute 143-129E3 allows us as a school system to not have to participate in the competitive bid program because we are purchasing this through a competitive bidding group purchasing program. And Ms. Lynn Harrell, I've already talked with her and Dr. Phipps, and I feel very comfortable going with this because this has already been issued out as RFPs from this company, and it's already been competitively priced, and it saves us a lot of time here. We're working towards the end of the school, but I want to present these to you. One quote. If you look there at the quotes that on your board docs, you'll see they break down each thing, and underneath of it you'll see a web address. So I don't know if you can actually, it will let you physically click that link, but it will take you to whatever that is. So if it's the head unit system, it breaks it down per part. If you flip or scroll down to the very, very last page, we'll go to Bath first. It totals up to $21,107.66. And that is replacing all the call switches in each classroom, making sure that when the teacher hits that button, it will ring into office.
How about outside speakers and bells?
That is also in the footnotes down there. We are adding 4 outside horns, and they will be removing the old system and existing wiring and speakers.
Now, if these are awarded, when will this work start?
Immediately, as soon as the PO is issued.
How long does it take to get these systems in?
If you remember, a while back, I had come for approval for Northside High School intercom system, which is the same system. And I'll get back to, should we probably use this every time? No, because I think after this, let's go back and put it out there competitively bid ourselves instead of using this every time. So I don't want you to think that I'm just going to use this every time. But when they come into Northside High School, once they got all the parts together, they stayed after. Mr. Charles Clark let the guys come in after, and in a couple of days they had everything. And then they went in with the teacher, made sure the teachers knew what to do, and made sure they could call back each run and run every program through.
Have they been happy with that?
Oh, very happy.
I had a question, but it really is about the second one compared to the first one. And I didn't read every single thing listed. I thought it was odd that there was going to be 72 at Bath and all the things that go with it for $21,000, but there's going to be 120 at Washington High School for $23,000. So for $2,000 more, you're getting that much more for your money? What's different about those?
Well, we're also using, at Washington High School, we're also using the existing backbone of the Cat 3 cable that's already
So
there.
you're using something there, whereas at Bath you have to install all new?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And we're also putting all new call switches at Bath too, so that's why the prices are
I figured,
kind of
like I
close.
said, I didn't read the guts of it because I didn't know what all that meant, but I figured there must be something additional at Bath, that there's only a $2,000 difference for what appears to be, not quite, but almost twice as many boxes.
And compared to Northside High School, I didn't bring that quote with me, but it's spot on. They're all right there together, so I really feel like we're really getting our money's worth on this one. I just ask for y'all's approval.
And this is money that comes out of your budget, which we've already approved.
Yes.
So basically, you're just kind of making us aware that the bid
It's-
system.
the money is
may work.
going to
Right,
these
I
two
understand.
things.
Right.
Mhm.
Move
Okay, I'm fine.
approval.
No,
Chairman.
no, let
Oh,
me,
you have a question?
Okay, sure.
I'm sorry?
I'm missing something, and it's me, I'm sure. This is only for how many schools?
Just two.
Why those two?
Just those two. Bath theirs is failing, along with Washington High School. You got John Small, P.S. Jones. They're new schools, new up-to-date systems. Chocowinny Primary has a new system, a Bogan system. Northside High School, we've already got theirs replaced, and I'm asking on our capital for next year for another school to get a new intercom system too. So I'm trying to make it where we have the same equipment going
Yeah, I know what you
universal.
said last night, yeah, and then hook them all together.
And
Give
plus
Dr. Fitz
this,
the authority to make some comments.
Barbara, it's sort of like priorities in terms of what do we have that's failing right now, what needs to be
Gotcha. That's what I
replaced
need.
immediately, and then we've got some on the radar that may be a year or two out that we'll be looking at as well.
Okay, good.
But we're gonna eventually get through them all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I just want to know how the choice was made and
sure.
how it's flowing.
Good
plus
question.
all this goes back to what we were talking about last night, safety. You got them call switches conveniently located in each classroom.
And to add to this, work orders of us having to call outside contractors in to
Gotcha.
work on it, and our maintenance staff working on it, and the cost of that has also led me to just choosing these two.
Yeah, everything costs money. Technology's not cheap.
No. Okay, any other questions?
Maybe we get the
Yeah, I
motion.
think I got a motion. Did I get a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any last questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you for approving.
Appreciate it. And that's going to carry, let's see where we're at on the agenda. Okay, closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11, A1, to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files, under General Statute 115C-321, and student records under General Statute 115C-402 and 20 USC 1232G.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to going in? No, we're in closed session. Okay, we're back out of closed session, and, I'm sorry? And the first item up is approval of the agenda, which we just discussed.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Carries us to updates, and calendar's first on the list, and Don can explain, but I believe you just told me there's nothing changed since
We
we've
have the
already.
Minority Hiring Practices Committee on the 10th at 4 o'clock, and then an hour later at 5 o'clock on the 10th, we're going to do our board meeting with another special call meeting for budget. We hope we can wrap up capital, and then Lynn and I will put our heads together and see what we can tell you on the local side, and then look at some other dates at that point, but try to wrap up capital if nothing else on the 10th.
Okay.
And we have our next board meeting, as we've changed dates, to the 15th of March at 5:30.
So unless we hear, we're back together as a group on the 10th.
That's right.
And we can go from there with what happens after that. Okay. Board member updates. Anybody have anything you'd like to share with the group? If not, can I ask one? Go ahead.
I would like to thank Eastern Elementary for the invitation to come read with students. I went today and really enjoyed the opportunity to read Green Eggs and Ham to a kindergarten class. So thanks to Eastern for that invitation.
Appreciate you saying that, because I'm going Thursday. Do you mind sharing how that went? What were the questions that the little kids asked, so I'll be prepared?
They told me I was a good reader, which I was surprised because I didn't think I was.
Okay.
But
Did you leave Green Eggs and Ham's book there? Can
Yes.
we pick that up when we go?
it's still there.
You think they might want to hear it again?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm sure they'll hear several of the same ones this week.
Well,
They don't
I
care.
read, I had the pleasure of reading yesterday, and Miss Walker picked out Fox in Socks for me to read, which is a very long Dr. Seuss book and a tongue twister. And one of the little kids at the very first page says, "Be careful with this book, it could be dangerous." And I said, "What do you think that means?" And this little boy raised his hand and he said, "I think it means you're gonna get a paper cut." But they
pretty
were
good.
absolutely precious, they
It
really
was.
were. I enjoyed it.
Well, the reason I ask, I have, everybody knows, I have a 6-year-old grandson, Braden, and he heard me say that I was going over reading, and he said, "Papa, you have to read with expression." And I looked at him thinking, he's a kindergarten student. What's he talking about expression? And then he went on to say, he actually read a line out of a book, and he said, "Now, would you like to read it in practice?" And I'm thinking, you're serious. And I'm thinking, what are they going to ask me when I get over there? So if you made it through today, I guess I can make it
Yeah,
through too. So.
breeze right through.
And you're going Friday?
I'm going Friday.
You and Ms.
And-
Booth.
In and out going Friday.
The one question I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I did see that they've started standing up the steel on the
Yeah.
addition there. So
We talked to the
probably
guy
see-
the other day, yeah.
that's going to look like a lot of progress in the next couple of weeks because the steel will go up and the siding will go on. So
The multipurpose room.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
I was there, they were pouring concrete.
Well, he said they would actually have the side, he called it skin. He said, we'll have a skin on it by another week or so.
yeah,
So, the question I want to ask you right quick, Mark, and I don't expect to get a resolution to it right now, but all the premium, healthcare premium issues that we had with teachers and staff, I guess beyond. I know you've done a tremendous amount of work, sent through. Is there anything else coming of that? Because I've had a number of teachers have asked me that they had received a note from you, I know you're just passing on the news, that some of those had been turned down.
Yes.
And they just don't understand why, when they've done everything proper, how they get turned down, and now they're basically, for better terms, stuck with paying, most of them are saying at least $40 a month more. That's $500 a year that our employees are paying that they shouldn't be paying, some of them. I just feel that it's just something I feel like I ought to be able to do for them, but I don't know what it is.
Well, what we've offered to do is basically the appeals process, we can send another essentially carbon copy of what we've already sent in and ask for it to be reconsidered again. And then at that point, it would be up to the individuals to file a case with the state treasurer's office and ask for them what the folks at the health plan will tell you is they will go in to see, did a person, like let's say that I called the helpline, did I log a call, did I give someone my name, did I get a case number attached, did someone make a statement that they had talked with me? They say they can go in and see, did I ever open up the screen where I was supposed to do my health assessment or my tobacco attestation? Did I attempt it? Did I open it up? They'll look at my past history. Have I always had the health assessment? Have I always signed off on the smoking attestation? But when they do that, you know, there's still the possibility that you could open all that up and it still disappear and it not register. But at that point, they say they just can't take your word for it, so they're assuming you just never did anything. And I mean, the bottom line is if you push it all the way to the state treasurer's office, then it's really on you to somehow bring evidence that yes, I really did attempt to do this, because their opinion is you just didn't do what you're supposed to do. If they don't have some kind of electronic or phone log that says that you
But some
did.
of these stayed online and got the final, you are okay that you've done everything and it's been completed, and the state won't take that? I mean, it just seems like there's no recourse for doing something right anymore. I don't
Right.
get it.
I mean, that's kind of what we argued when we met with them face to face.
And I know y'all went up there. I'm not even going there. Well, do our teachers know how to go through this process?
Well,
Because I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, the initial part is for us to ask again. So when they get their denial, I've asked them, I mean, what I'm trying to explain is I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. If you get
I
denied,
understand.
there's a very slim chance that you're ever going to be approved. So what I've asked them is, okay, here's the next level after the denial. Do you want us to try again? Do you have any new information? You can give me anything else from the first time.
And most
you
of them
asked
don't.
me.
They said that
I mean, there really isn't
that's
anything
what
new
you
to say.
said. They've
I
already said it
tried.
all.
That's
Yeah.
right. So now we're waiting for the second round. At that point, there's nothing else we can do. Then it would be on them, and what I would have to give them is basically the number for the state treasurers and how to file a claim.
Okay, I just can't believe that someone across the state has not just
Well, I
gone
mean,
and taken
there-
some kind of action. You just can't. Well, you can. Apparently, you can. Just charge people whatever you want, whether it's right or wrong, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Is there not
I
going to
just
be
can't
another
believe that that's what's
opportunity?
going on.
Does this end with the school year, or is this set in stone now?
It's in the calendar year,
It's a
unless you have a
calendar year.
qualifying event.
So
We'll
they
have-
they're stuck with this.
We'll have
until
open
December.
enrollment in the next fall, but it wouldn't take effect till January of 2017. Now, if you have a qualifying event between now and then, you know, lose a job, add a spouse, a child, something of that nature, then you can make changes. But if you don't have a qualifying event, then you are, I mean, as long as you have the health insurance, then you're pretty much just stuck with the premium that you have.
So short of them winning an appeal, which
Crazy.
sounds unlikely, but
Very.
maybe, yeah. They will have another opportunity in the fall to make any changes, but those changes will not take effect until the calendar year 2017.
That is correct.
And we need to make sure that everyone understands to do what they have to do and copy, print, log, you know.
Yeah, a lot of these people did that.
Yeah.
But Blue Cross Blue Shield, they ought to have a great year, because they can just charge whatever they want, apparently.
And their answer to us was that in the future, they want to increase the number of people who have to go online. The idea being that there's some folks who don't have to do it at all. If they make it more that everybody has to do it, then I guess we'll all suffer together is kind of their motto, so.
We requested that the window be opened back up for 48 hours to allow folks to get their house in order, and they just refused to do that. The news reports indicate they've got their hands full with lots of other issues that are going on there. So, you know, we put this out, and we've made expressed a concern, and I don't mind talking to the attorney that's worked with us in Raleigh. It's not anything that we're charged for, but if we continue to have employees that aren't having their needs met or feel like they're being hurt, I don't mind mentioning that to the person.
And that's where I was going. I mean, they're saying they're paying more, so, I mean, and we're responsible for these employees, but yet I don't know how to help them either. And it just seems so unfair. Okay, superintendent updates.
Just want to share with the public that we are finishing up the last bit of edits on our strategic plan. I'll have that posted online. Would love for the public to take a look at it, board members, anyone who's got an opinion. If there's anything else we need to add, any tweaks that need to be made to it before we print a copy out to send out for final approval. So that'll be up in the last draft form by the end of this week.
Okay. Any last comments? If not,
I will motion that we adjourn.
got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Good meeting.